Well, hello. As we approach the bull market for cryptocurrencies, what looks like it's going to be a bull market, I'm starting to think of how will I approach the bear market that follows, right? So what type of portfolio could I build, and should I start designing for the upcoming bear market? So I wanted to share some of the thoughts that I have for now. So I started by making with Gemini, making this deep research report. Okay, it's gives some good general pointers. Then of course the details, as always, are debatable. But stablecoins, yeah, the point it makes, it's correct. In a bear market, one way or the other, you're gonna be using stablecoins. Okay, as far as I see it, there's two things you can do in a bear market: hold stablecoins and hopefully get some yield out of these, right, with DeFi. And two, DCA. If you are, like most of us, right, long-term bullish in crypto, then keep on buying, right? It's a good time to buy, right? So for, let's say, blue chip assets, right? And a variant of that would be staking, right? By staking, if you buy a new stake, then also the stake is kind of like buying you more of the token. But I'm focusing on stablecoins for now. And I thought, you know what, before I start looking at, I don't know, liquidity pools or yield farms, whatever, like sources of yield, if I'm gonna be putting a large chunk of my portfolio in stablecoins, I want to know which ones you can trust, right? I know already that most centralized stablecoins are freezable. So like the operator of the smart contracts that governs the tokens can decide to arbitrarily freeze your tokens. That is something I do not like. I understand why they do it, for compliance reasons. They have to comply with AML regulations, right? Anti-money laundering. The thing is that the way these things work, usually there's chain analysis or other companies that flag, and it's a bit of a black box how these things work. They will flag certain tokens as, these come from some Tornado Cash pool or something. So what I did was I created a spreadsheet, and I put here a bunch of stablecoins ordered by descending market cap. Okay, I got this from DeFi Llama, very easy. And then I started adding some dimensions, things that I would be interested in knowing about each stablecoin. Some of these are financial. Okay, like can I redeem the stablecoin for real dollars, or, well, whatever real collateral, okay, there's behind it? Are there yield opportunities? And then about the pegging, that's really important, right? How does it keep the peg? How could it depeg? Are there any tricks they're doing or special things for high volatility, which I guess is the very adverse situations, right, for stablecoins? Then about the company, because that, well, obviously this is more thinking of centralized stablecoins, but not only, because centralized stablecoins will have a company that issues them and that guarantees you, okay, that this token is backed by $1. Whereas algorithmic stablecoins will have will have all the process on chain, right? However, in the case of DAI, I know that you can earn some yield that comes from short-term treasury bonds. DAI is I think probably the oldest, right, algorithmic stablecoin, or anyways one of the originals. How the first time I heard this, I was like, okay, so how does that work? Like the DAO, how did the DAO buy short-term treasury bonds, right? There must be a company behind it. And the thing is, whenever there's a company behind it, you're changing your trust assumptions. So one thing is to hold Ethereum, ETH, you're trusting the network. Very different thing is to hold USDT token, because you're trusting whoever is guaranteeing you that well, sorry, in that case is Tether Limited, right? You're trusting that company to keep the right amount of dollars that are required to issue all those tokens. And also, yeah, not to freeze your assets, by the way. So I want to know stuff about the company, okay? Where is it located? What's its reputation? Does it comply with stuff? And then will be nice to know stuff about smart contracts. Exactly, is it freezable, right? And so on. And then, yeah, this I wasn't sure where to fit it in. But since I'm living in Europe, I wanted just to know any further information specific to Europe. So now what I did, when I first did this, I said, okay, yeah, now let's go. Let's start Googling this and then Googling this. And then I thought, you know what? Can I use AI for this? So I did. And I did this. This is what came out. So I did it with using both the web search capability of Claude and of OpenAI with respectively Sonnet 3.7 and GPT 4.1 mini. This I like much better, the results. Like I have a feeling like the web search on Claude works much better. It's way more expensive, but it works better. And the way that to be honest, it's quite, I'm not gonna go into that, but it's quite forward. I'm using Instructor, which is this here, Instructor, which is this very nice Python library, allows you to define pedantic models of the result you want to get out of the LLM, right? In this case, like, okay, there's one, this will be the response I get, and it will have just one field called data, and this should be the ordered list of returned data. And then it will actually be a list of these things, right? And each of these things is basically a cell, right? In the spreadsheet. That's what it represents. So it will have field name, right? And that will be the name of the column. By the way, I'm processing this thing in rows, right? So like all the USDT row at once. And then all these entries will be all the rows in here. The field name will be the name of the column, and the value will be whatever the LLM found, and so on. And then the sources, okay? And then I just iterate on the rows. Here I'm actually, you see, I have the small wrapper function. It just uses the instructor client, and it's giving it, it's passing this pedantic model. It's really cool, this thing, because then whatever you obtain is actually, you see, I can access the fields, then data, and I can iterate on the entries or data. So back to stablecoins then. What did we find out? Well, first of all, I was right about freezing. Actually, that's what I want to focus on. You see USDE, this is, by the way, Athena, right? So algorithmic stablecoin. Apparently, yeah, there's actually been an episode of even Athena freezing assets. So yeah, even the DAI is not DAI is not freezable, but has a high exposure of USDC. If you look at the first source, it will tell you. I'm not sure from when this blog is, but yeah, there was a almost 60% of USDC backed. This concerns me. As a crypto guy, I'm worried about the trust assumptions. I don't like this thing being freezable. I understand why it's done. I understand, by the way, that if I buy my stablecoins from a liquidity pool, the way the liquidity pool is implemented, to my understanding, there will be a balance of the two tokens in the liquidity pool that are saved in the Solidity smart contract. And when I buy token, when I trade in Ethereum and I get USDC, to my understanding, that should not be traceable. The token is considered fully fungible there, right? Whoever traded that in, even if they come from some shady business, right, that chain analysis can flag. They can say like, yeah, this USDC was used for drug trafficking, but then once it gets in the liquidity pool, it just becomes, that fungibility gets lost, right? It just increases that balance in the LP for one side, right, of the LP. And when I trade, I decrease the balance in the other side. I don't think I will be subject to ML freezing. I'm not doing any illegal activities, but still, the fact that an operator can arbitrarily decide, we're going to freeze your tokens, that bothers me. If I have to put real money in it, that is a bit of a red flag for me. So I think I'm going to try to avoid centralized stablecoins. I understand that algorithmic stablecoins come with their own risks. It depends on the pegging strategy, right? Athena is going to be different than DAI. But in general, in volatile markets, they might have a harder time to stay pegged. I, to be honest, would be fine with a bit of volatility. Yeah, the nice things of these new algorithmic stablecoins like CRV USD and GHOs that they, and even USDE, they come with these native yield opportunities. Native in the sense that you don't have to go, like if you hold USDT, right, you're not getting any short-term treasury bonds. You have to go and put it in some liquidity pool, in some beefy pool, whatever, to get a yield on top of it. So you're multiplying the risks, right, of every protocol. Whereas with CRV USD, you know, you can use the same protocol, but yeah, for sure, different functions of the same protocol, but still, it's more integrated. So I kind of like that, and I kind of like that they're not freezable. But yeah, I haven't yet made a decision. I might allocate. I mean, the right way, I think, to build a portfolio is that you should decide each allocation, yeah, what risk there is for this allocation, and then allocate accordingly. Like if there's a high risk, you know, put a smaller allocation of the portfolio. So I might be building a portfolio with multiple stablecoins. By the way, this report, I'll link it in the description. Please go check it out. Let me know what you think. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoy the content I do, please support me by liking and subscribing, and see you in the next video.